Yeah, I think it's gonna be fun. I don't have goals, and I think that it's good to have no goals for once. Hey there, everybody. My name is Rooster Quade, and I am the host for the ON1 podcast, where we talk about real shit with real people. Now, if you don't know who I am, I go by the name of Rowdy Rooster, and I am an award-winning traveling tattoo artist based out of the East Coast. Before we can get started, I just want to say really quickly, thank you so much to our sponsor, Industry Inks, as well as to everyone who's helped us get this podcast started. It's those interviews and those constant support that allowed us to do this. So, without further ado, let's dive in. Hi.
Hey.
Welcome to the first episode.
Yeah.
I am Rooster Quade.
Hillary Russell.
And we are On1. I was pretty clear right out there that you were going to have to be my first episode.
Yes.
For a couple reasons.
Uh-huh.
One, you were like the first person I bounced this off of. You were responsible for the name.
Mm-hmm.
And this episode's going to be a little bit more about me and the podcast and why we're here, versus like me trying to talk to someone else and let them kind of steer the conversation and me just interjecting when possible.
Sure. Let's dive into it.
Okay.
What drove you to start with the podcast? How'd you get there?
It's so weird because you know all the answers to this, but you're just helping me with the podcast.
Prompting,
yes. I struggle with wanting to create, right, all the time, and I think a lot of artists and a lot of people in general have to rely on social media, and so we're constantly creating content because we have to. We have to create something consumable to stay relevant.
Exactly. Yeah.
And especially as tattoo artists, we're creating something every day, and we're creating something for the client. And while we do get to have our little touch, and don't get me wrong, tattooing is amazing, and I love it, and it's fulfilling. But I want to create something for me. A lot of people paint in their free time and stuff like that. I've tried. Just isn't the same for me, D&D is a huge outlet for that, but I just started winding down on the end of my campaign. So I was like, I just had this itch. And so the idea of the podcast came out. I kind of posted about, I don't know what I want to do.
Well, before we got there, I remember we were on the phone one night and you were like, I feel like I need something.
I have an itch.
It was kind of like at the end of the D&D campaign because we had just stopped.
I think we had one session left. We had the final session left.
Yeah, and you were like, I have to do something. I don't know what it is. And I was like, okay, well, do you need to be doing something? How do we get you there? And you were like, I don't know yet. I don't know. Yeah. And then
I posted about it. I was like, I went public with it. Because I talk on the story all the time, which I get a lot of positive feedback when I just talk on my story to people. It feels authentic and people see that. And a lot of artists even will be like, yeah, dude, the way you brand yourself and the way that you're really good about engaging with people. And I'm like, really? Because I don't see it. I don't see it in the numbers, which again, I'm always thinking about it as like a business, not as something I enjoy.
Yeah, but as a personal, even just me finding you, right? I found your tattoo. I was like, wow, that's amazing. And then I followed you, and then I just I'd see your stories, and you would post things that were about you, and it was just kind of like, oh, okay, this seems like a cool dude. I could totally get tattooed by him. Cool.
Yeah, and so I posted about it, and the number of people, it had to have been over a dozen people that were like, you should do a podcast.
Yeah.
I just love listening to talk. And I was like, fuck, maybe I should. And I thought about it more, and I kind of started bouncing the ideas off of you and Z. And I was like, it's kind of my favorite part of my job is the connecting with people. And if that's something I can create that I enjoy, because I love talking to people, and it just so happens that other people can also enjoy it, then that's awesome. And so I was like, fuck it, I'm going to do it. And so I deep dove into the ideas. And you came up with do you want to tell the story of why you decided that this was a name that you really liked?
Well, so you said you wanted to do a podcast. And I was like, cool. And you're like, I got to think of a name. And I was like, all right, cool. And you kind of came to me, and I don't think I'm very creative.
No.
So So in that, I was like, well, I don't know why you're asking me. I got nothing. But that particular day, I remember like I was just giving you a hard time about everything, and I was being a menace.
Yeah.
And I think that you said something. I was like, dude, I don't know. I'm just on one.
Yeah.
And then you kind of circled back around to finding a name, and you are the definition of a menace.
Yeah. All the time.
All the time.
All the time. To
So
my
I was like,
clients, everybody. Yeah.
dude, on one, because you're always on one.
And I shot it down. I was like, no, I don't like it. And then I started with a bunch of other names, and I eventually came back to it, and I was like, oh, like Rowdy Rooster's on one, or on one with Rowdy Rooster, which I do put like in the caption and stuff like that, but I really ended up just cleaning it up and just calling it ON1POD. Obviously ON1 podcast, but like the name of it is actually just ON1POD.
Yeah.
And in the bio and in the descriptions and stuff like that, it'll have my name, so that when people look me up, because no one's going to listen to this podcast and then go get tattooed by me. This podcast is never going to become more popular than I am, right? At least in the tattoo industry kind of thing. Like I have a pretty good following with my career. And so I feel like most people are going to be like, oh, Rowdy Rooster, the tattoo artist, and then they might stumble upon this podcast, and they might be like, oh, I'm going to watch that. This guy is someone I might get tattooed by, and then they get to know me a little bit, and they're like, oh, he's kind of funny, super handsome and charming, but he's also just like really relatable, and he talks about anything and everything. And so that was kind of the idea of like putting my name in there so that it's easily tied together. While it's not about tattooing, it is facilitated because I'm a tattoo artist. Yeah.
That makes sense. I mean, I think that I like the way that you're on one pod, like you're on one podcast, but also like you're on one.
Yeah.
And it can go any way, right?
It's a play on words, yeah.
Yeah, you could go any way with it. You can, it can be an episode that's just full on chaos and, good stuff, or you're just talking about real shit.
So, and that brings me on to, I wanted to create a like slogan or a motto or whatever for the podcast, and I ended up with real shit with real people. And I was pretty set on that right out the rip. I was like, I just want to talk about real shit with real people. And I was like, that's clever. I like that a lot.
You said something earlier, I think it was today. The second part of it was like, people just want to be heard.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really cool, because that is what's happening here. It's not like you're seeking, because there's other podcasts, right, where you're speaking to like, I really love Ologies with Allie Ward, and she finds an expert in whatever topic, and they're all science-based.
Yeah.
But because you're taking just people from every day, like it is so much more relatable, and it will be their experiences and their stories rather than it being something that you have to like fact check.
I was so nervous. I was so nervous that I was gonna be like, I'm gonna have all these ideas and then no one's gonna want to be on this stupid thing. And I started posting about it, and I've already recorded 3. This is our 4th one technically, in even though I'm going to release in different orders. Like I'm going to have you first. I'm pretty sure I'm going to have Kevin second. Like I'm going to record a bunch of it, but I've already had 3, now 4. I've got 1 tomorrow. I've got 1 on Tuesday. Patrick said he wants to come on. Then I've got another one on Friday. I have a couple people that are reaching out, and I'm like just trying to figure out where to put them. So I'm like, I think this is going to be a lot easier. And that's when I was like, I think people just want to be heard. I think that what I'm doing will do well, and I'm not in a monetary value, not in a it's gonna blow up and people are gonna watch it, but like I think I'm gonna have an easier time producing this, creating something for me, because at the end of the day, I don't care if you just have a story. If you're like, oh my God, I gotta share this story with you, dude. People are gonna love this. Or like Mason today was like, dude, I got tons of fucking stories that are absolutely batshit crazy. Or if they want to spread awareness to something, like Jamie, she wants to bring awareness to neurodivergent teachings, and I was like, absolutely. And so we recorded that. It was so awesome. But it also like topped on a bunch of other things like divorce, being black, and D&D. So like these conversations can go anywhere and everywhere. I don't really I'm not writing a script. I'm not writing down bullet points. I don't want it to be premeditated. If you have an idea or you have something you want to start this podcast with, great. But like I sat with Z and they were like, what are we going to do? And I was like, we're going to press play and we're just going to let it happen. And there's something beautiful about that. I found out pretty quickly within my first recording and listening back on it that I was like, something that really matters to me is the fact that at no point did either of us, me or Kevin, stop or worry ourselves with the fact that we were interrupting each other. And I was like, that's like theater 101, TV 101, radio 101. Always wait till someone kind of hands you that talking stick. And I was like, don't do that shit. Interject wherever you want. Who cares if we don't finish a single sentence? I want this podcast to be relaxed. Obviously, we're like sitting up in really uncomfortable chairs and we have a bright light on us and stuff like that. But for the most part, I want it to be like two people in their living room just chatting, or two people in a room while one of them, you know, I want to replicate that conversation just that I have. The intimacy of tattooing someone.
A genuine conversation.
I was talking with my buddy Derek yesterday as he was tattooing me, and I'll post him up there in a second. But we were talking about it. We were talking about the podcast, and right off the rip, he's telling me, he's like, yeah, I think I got food poisoning last night. He said something about throwing cookies or something like that. And I was like, which end is that coming out of? I've never heard that reference. And he's like, oh yeah, it's like we're talking about it. Yeah, I found out. But we're talking about it, and immediately I was just like, this is exactly the kind of conversations that I love about being a tattoo artist and being a client of a tattoo artist. And he's like, yeah, I think there's something incredibly therapeutic about the fact that like your body's going through something, right? You're being tattooed. You're also forced to sit with someone for 6 hours at a time. It's not like a dentist or a barber chair where like you within those first 30 minutes of being with them, you kind of go through the like, how's the weather, how's the kids, and then you're done.
Yeah.
We have an opportunity to dive deeper, and that's those conversations, you know, the REM sleep of conversations that's a couple hours in. That's what I want to replicate with this podcast.
Yeah, I think that also just the atmosphere of a tattoo shop, there is something that just makes it easier to talk about anything. I don't know what it is specifically, but I mean...
Nerves. I think nerves plays a big part. I also think that tattoo artists are more eccentric. We have to be characters.
Boundaries are different.
Yeah, there are no boundaries. I have a tactic, right? I remember the first shop I was at, the manager would ask me, like, how do, like, you're so new at this or whatever, and I made a lot of tips, and I didn't know that was a lot of tips. I just was making a lot of tips, and she was like, how are you making so many tips? And I was like, my trick is to treat them kind of shitty, in the sense that like I'm treating them like I would my best friend. Like you walk in the door and like you make fun of someone first, then you're like, hey, how you been, man? And I do that with all my clients. Or at least I was a little bit more with that, like when I first started. Now it's a little more relaxed where like everybody kind of like is more comfortable, but I am kind of just a menace all the time with my clients, with Z's clients, with anybody that walks in this bitch. I don't give a fuck. If it's your first tattoo, I'm gonna crank it up because I want you to not worry about the stress of getting tattooed. And it works really well. I am pretty successful considering how far I'm in my career, and I have a really good way with my clients that people always come back, you know, which is really important to me. I think that's super important. But I'll walk in the door and the first thing out of my mouth will be like, I almost shit myself just now. And that really disarms people immediately, you know, and it makes them feel like I can probably tell them about my marital problems, you know? Yeah. How are you feeling? I know we just tattooed another 5 hours on your back piece that we've been working on.
I'll be honest, I'm like shaking as I'm sitting
It's kind of shitty. Well, I appreciate you recording this regardless.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Wow.
We started your back was it January or February?
Yeah.
We started Kate's back in January, then we started yours in February. And I remember at the beginning of the year, I was really set on, I was like, I really want to do some stuff for me. Like I really am just kind of getting in this feeling where like I'm just working for everyone else and I really need to change it up. And I started rebranding my Instagram to look a specific way. I've kind of found it, like I updated my logo, which it used to be this back when I did merch, but I updated it and I kind of gave my entire Instagram a whole makeover, and I've been posting differently. I'm not worried about just posting every day, but rather posting stuff that looks a certain way, really kind of honing in.
A very specific to you aesthetic.
Yeah, and like also like I don't post every tattoo. I only post the tattoos that I'm like really proud of or I want to do more of.
More of, right.
Right, because I tattoo black and gray almost, 50% of the time that I'm here at the shop. But that's not what I want to do. That's not what brings me joy. It doesn't fulfill me in any way. So I just post the color, the neo-traditional, the neo-realism, some realism, you know, and that feels good to me. But I remember telling Kate, you know, and you, I was like, I want to do some bigger projects this year, and I'm just letting you guys know I'm probably going to offer discounts. And I think what I was offering was like, hey, I will do one back, one arm, one sleeve, or one leg sleeve.
I also think I remember you posting like, hey, I don't remember if you actually posted it, but you did toy with the idea of doing something discounted but making them commit.
So that's what I was about to say.
Yeah.
I was like, I want to do one back piece, one leg sleeve, and one arm sleeve. If I can get 3 clients that agree to that, this is what I'll do. I will do it ridiculously cheap. I'm talking like 50% off. And I usually book by the day. They pay up front, and that allows me to feel, I don't have cancellations. I don't have any of that issues. And a lot of tattoo artists are like, that's crazy. But I don't have any issue. No one bats an eyelash at it. My clients are like, he's confident in his work. I love his work. I'm doing that. They feel good about paying 2-3 months before their appointment. They feel good walking in, whatever. All around, it's just great. My career is secure. Their tattoos are secure. They feel confident that I'm not going to bail on them, whatever. So instead of charging this, you know, day rate, I was like, hey, you come in, you pay this 50% of what a full day would be, but you book one appointment every month for the next 12 months. And if you do that, I will continue to give that 50% discount as long as you don't miss a single appointment. And you just, when you come in, you pay for the first one or you pay for the second one, you whatever. It ended up being that you'd get these big ass projects done within a year for half the price. Yeah. And I had a couple people bite, but then inevitably everybody kind of like bailed out a little bit. But you and Kate were like, we'll do it. And I was like, yeah? I was like, backs, all day backs. I just want to do back pieces.
I'll be honest, I'm thinking about that now and I'm like, man,
you fucked up.
What a mistake.
You should have chosen. I mean, we've already kind of like worked on your sleeve, or we've finished off. Obviously, there was a little bit of work there prior, but we finished that off pretty quick. But I think these big projects is what brings me joy. Like I like doing full days.
Well, the thing about both of them is like, I know with Kate, like she gave you a general idea of what you wanted.
She's like, I want cats.
Yeah.
Big cats. And I was like, okay.
With mine, you know, I don't care what I get tattooed. No. So I'm like,
do
whatever you want to do. Yeah. So that really was, you had creative freedom with both of those.
Yeah. And it's cool because now Kate's is done. We got hers done in 36 hours. We're coming up on that right now on yours, and we've still got pretty good ways to go. But it sucks. But it's super rewarding because my portfolio is going to be that much bigger, and I'll be able to attract more clients that can be like, I can see what he's capable of. Yeah. So I guess I've just been like, this podcast is step 5 in a series of things of me just trying to make stuff for me, and trying to like kind of set me up for a bigger, better tomorrow, you know? And again, it's not about money. It's about, I want to look back and be really, really happy with the things that I've created and the people that I've come in contact with and everything like that. And I hope that this podcast is a nice addition to that portfolio.
I love the idea that you are willing to be so mobile with it, right? Like if you're at a convention or you're going to do actually, like you went to the chiropractor this morning, you're like, maybe she wants to do an interview.
And she does. So she's like, I'm having a bad day. It's Friday the 13th. And my car's tire went flat. And then I went to go pick up this and the thing was broken. So I had to return it and I got it again. But that one was broken. And I was like, you're having a rough day. She's like, I don't want to be on the podcast. And I was like, sick. But like, I'm going to do an episode with her doing chiropractic care on me, which again boosts her business while also like bringing, like her followers become my followers and vice versa, which is just strategic as a business. And then also like people just want to watch that shit. But I can do that in her office, and then out in her lobby, I want to get her and her brother because he runs the front, and us just hanging out on the couch and like just talking about the ins and outs and the things we do and do not like about that part of their industry. But it's super cool to be able to take it on the go. Like we've got little mics and a cell phone. Yeah. That's my whole setup. Boom. That's my whole setup for this. And like I have an opportunity to like grow with it a little bit if I want to, but I like being portable. I like that I'm going to be able to move around and shoot different places. I've got I've got someone going to cut my hair tomorrow. They're bringing their shit here. We're going to set it up and do that, cut my hair while doing the podcast. It's fun. I travel and do all these conventions. I'm sponsored with Industries and Crybaby, so like I'll be moving around with them, and hopefully I have an opportunity to interview, Eric.
I was gonna say,
I really
should.
You met him. He's a super cool dude. I want to interview, other tattoo artists, about everything. Flip Shades is about to have a baby. I want to ask him to be on my podcast and just be like, hey man, this isn't about tattooing. Just talk about your kid. Yeah. And the dude's going to fucking ramble. And I hope that I can get him on. If you're listening to this, Flip, I want you on there, buddy. But like, I think it's a really cool opportunity for people to see behind the veil, behind the artwork, and feel more comfortable. And then also just like, I don't know, maybe people just want to hear people talk about some real shit. And if they don't, no skin off my teeth.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. Like, do you have any goals for it?
This?
Like, yeah, within a year, what are you thinking? Like,
no, and I think that's kind of the beauty of it. Yeah, is that like,
it is what it is.
It's like painting. It's like painting for me, right? I'm not going to set a schedule. I'm not going to set any kind of regimen, and I'm just going to do it when I feel motivated to do it, so it feels authentic. And I think I keep saying that word over the last couple of weeks. Authentic. I want this to be authentic.
But that's kind of your whole thing.
That's 100% my thing. I'm authentically, genuinely uncomfortably genuine. That's three things I put together all the time. I am uncomfortably genuine, and I try to be as authentic as humanly possible. And I hope that people feel that. I hope that people see that, and I hope that that's something that people want to continue to listen to. If they don't, that's okay. I'm having fun setting up these appointments and talking with people. It's cool. I'm doing it, and I'm not doing it because they're forced to sit here as captive in my chair. They're just like
volunteering. Yeah, they have shit they want to say.
I have so many people in my messages right now being like, I want to be on your show. I haven't even posted it. I haven't even put out a single episode. I'm gonna put out a bunch of them at once. Obviously, if you're listening to this, I've already put out a couple. But after I do that, it'll be just as I make them, which I'm sure I'll be making them pretty regularly. I still have a list of people that want to be on it, so I'm doing multiple a week. Takes me time to edit because my fucking life is crazy busy with you and Kate and the kids. But yeah, I think it's gonna be fun. I don't have goals, and I think that it's good to have no goals for once. The goal is to just enjoy myself.
Good. I think that's perfect.
And get to know people.
Like, what else?
And to let you people get to know everyone. That's gonna be fun. I'm really excited.
You should be. This is gonna be great.
Thank you so much.
I genuinely
I think this is the first episode.
This is it?
I think this is it.
Did it?
Yeah. Anything you want to say?
I'm just here for the ride.
Just here for the ride?
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being on our podcast. I am Rooster Quade.
Hillary Russell.
And we are
On1.
Thank you so much. This is awesome. I love you. Awesome. Thank you so much, everyone, for taking time out of your busy day to listen to Shoot the Shit. It means everything to all of us here at the On1 podcast. Now, if you liked what you listened to and you want to help us out, give us a like, a comment, or even just share with a friend. And if you'd like to join us on set, please feel free to message us on Instagram at On1POD. We'd love to work with you. Have a great day. We'll see you next time.